Schrock. I'm going to get it open on my screen over here as well so that I can make sure that we are streaming in live here before we get too much into it. We'll give everybody a couple moments to get connected here as we regain the listeners for which we have lost. All right, I already sent the email with the winner, so that's already taken care of. Bada boom. So we got that good. Kathy got that gift card there. That was awesome. Boy, what do we got? So first of all, the After Schrock today is going to be a little bit brief. I do have to get on the road this morning. We're going down to IKEA in Kansas City to purchase fixtures for the service center. So when you come into a Schrock service center, all the tables that you see out front, the cabinets, the shelves, in the back, like the drawers and inventory shelves and the chairs at the front desk, those are all IKEA items. And so we've been trying to purchase these items for the Des Moines location for some time. The problem is that IKEA has been closed because of COVID. And then they went to this, they call it click to collect. It's their curbside pickup option, but they only have so many slots available. And because they only have so many slots available, you can't schedule a click to collect. Literally, they're scheduled out, they're full. So they just reopened their IKEA location in Kansas City. So we're going to be heading down to Kansas City to we don't like to usually go. We usually stop at Chick-fil-A on the way down, but it's Sunday, can't stop at Chick-fil-A. But no, we're going to take this opportunity to go get that furniture because we don't know. We may not be able to get everything that we need there on this one trip, and usually we like to go once we know everything is in stock. But we just don't know if everything is going to get in stock or if we're going to have to make do or find some other solution somewhere else. So we want to get as close to complete as we can. Also, if you've been into the Papillion Service Center, the front desk chairs in the Papillion Service Center are the original chairs from 2011. One of them had a squeak. And Nikki decided that she was going to take a can of WD-40 and spray the underlings of the chair to get rid of the squeak. You know, normally pretty logical stuff. All of a sudden now, you know the little piston that holds the chair up? Well, it's super WD lubricated now, so it doesn't hold anybody up. You sit in it and it just goes because it's so lubricated it won't hold anybody up. So it's time, you know, it's been 9 years. It's time for some new chairs for Papillion. So we're going to make on this run, we're going to grab a couple extra chairs for Papio too. All right, so if anybody has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and put the call out now to ask for questions. We're just going to do a couple brief things here, and then I'm going to have to get on the road and get rolling. But if anybody needs anything specific answered or has any kind of funny questions, I'm happy to oblige. Good morning, Don. Good morning, Mark. Good to see you, Mary. Carolyn, good to have you. Mitch, top fan, always here. Love it. Mark, do devices such as phone soap really work effectively? Okay, so the phone soap thing, first of all, I hear their ads all the time on Fox Business. Phone soap, they're out of stock. So if you bought one, you don't even get it right now. And it's not actually soap. It's not like a usable, disposable thing. What it's doing is it's using ultraviolet light to clean your device. So here's the thing about ultraviolet. Ultraviolet light will kill bacteria, viruses, things like that. Ultraviolet light is also known as the sun. Yes, the sun kills these things too. But the problem is if your phone is in a case or if your phone has dirt or debris on it or lint, the UV light doesn't go through there. Just like if you have your phone in a case, the sun can't get to it. So if your phone if you clean your phone first and then place it in one of these UV decontamination things, yeah, they work great. I don't know what the intensity of the UV light is per device. I don't know how long you have to leave it in there. Those would be variables that would determine how effective it would be. So I have not personally used phone soap myself. I do clean my phone more often than I used to just because of everything going on. I try to be as clean as possible. But yeah, it's those are devices that do, you know, ultraviolet light will kill viruses and bacteria. Top of the morning, Deborah with the Irish. We are back, Roger. We are back. It's like we are Borg, Roger. Wow. Top fan Roger is one. We are one. All right. Good morning, Kara. Good to see you. Roger. His other brother, Roger. We have a lot of Rogers listening this morning. Thank you, Roger. We will have a safe trip. We have a brand new audiobook to listen to. Okay, so everything is crazy right now. So if you're looking for something that would be truly funny, you know, maybe safe for, I would say, I don't know, Kim, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but I would say if your kids are 17 or older, um, that it would be appropriate. But there's an audiobook series called Expeditionary Force, also abbreviated as X4. The first book in the series is called Columbus Day. Um, the concept of the book series is aliens invade Earth, right? It's a sci-fi kind of series. Aliens invade Earth, and these aliens happen to look like hamsters. Okay, it gets way funnier from there. So the alien hamsters invade Earth. Earth is conquered, and then Earth, basically gets dragged into as a client species into a proxy war between all these other larger species. Somewhere along the lines, one army colonel, or I guess no, he's a sergeant at that time. One army sergeant sees an enemy lander coming down, and he's trying to get boots on the ground on scene. He's taking independent action. He commandeers an ice cream truck with a giant Barney the dinosaur on the front of it, and he goes racing to the scene of the lander, and it neutralizes several furry aliens with an ice cream truck with Barney on the front. And it's one of those things like after you get through the first book is a little, the first half of the first book is a little like, you got to be kidding me, right? But once you get past that, they introduce Skippy, the artificial intelligence beer can character. I think he comes late in the first book or maybe the second book. The books are just uproariously funny. Even if you're not a space opera kind of fan, if you're not a sci-fi fan, you will laugh. You will laugh. You'll find yourself using words like filthy monkeys. 2 weeks ago, Scott Voorhees was running the board in here. And I said that, I used that in polite conversation. I'm like, yeah, something, 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 you filthy monkeys. And Scott's like, I don't think on the entire time KFAB has ever been on the air, I've ever heard anyone utter the words filthy monkeys. So you'll find you start to bring little things like what's the awesomeness quote? I can't think of it now. Like embrace the awesomeness or something. So you'll find yourself just. It's a really entertaining book series. There's a bunch of books in the series, so it's one of those series that you can get into and you can enjoy for a long period of time, days and days and days of audio listening. If you wanted to do something like that. So whenever we go on a trip to IKEA, I've been saving the latest Expeditionary Force book. It's their Maverick sub-series book that Kim and I are going to listen to, or at least start. We won't be on the road long enough to finish it, but then we'll go our separate ways and we'll listen. We'll listen on our own devices, but we always start together. So it's one of those things. If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, go and you're an Audible fan, go on to Audible and get yourself Expeditionary Force. Columbus Day is the first book. You'll love it. All right. That's what the Aftershock's all about, guys. Completely random stuff that has nothing to do with the radio show. Right? I mean, that's what we're here for. I purchased a tablet from Schrock. I bet it does not work on direct. But it does not work on DirecTV. Do you have a fix? Ken, you probably have the Android tablet. The Android tablet is running Android version 4.4. That's KitKat. Unfortunately, there is no. That's why we stopped selling the Android tablets. Is because they didn't fit with the modular structure of what we do, where devices can be used and used and used for a long period of time. The tablet industry, the way that the industry is built on an 18-month disposal cycle. You have a real tough time getting any tablet older than 18 months to do anything with apps that aren't compatible. And so DirecTV's app is no longer compatible with KitKat 4.4 or Android 4.4 KitKat. Therefore, it will not run. So there are some options out there. You could try to sideload it, which is where you basically get the app from an unauthorized source, and then you attempt to manually install it on the tablet, therefore bypassing the Google Store. If the app itself has an issue with KitKat and it won't run, there's nothing you can do about that. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work. So I wish I had better news for you, but that's why in 2016 we stopped selling the Android tablets and we went Windows only with our tablets because I don't want to sell somebody a device that they can't use for more than 2 years. It doesn't make sense to me. Alrighty, finally got my eyes and ears on. Good to see you, Roy. Yeah, 17 to 18 plus. Yeah, there are some adult scenes, let's put it that way, and some adult concepts. Nothing like race, like, I don't know, nothing vile, right? There's not descriptions of things and stuff like that, but there are adult concepts in the book. Not to mention killing things, in the book. So Definitely trust the awesomeness. That's what it is. Thank you, lovely Kimberly. Trust the awesomeness. So, and that's a great tagline for life right now. Whenever someone looks at you and says you can't do that, like when you're going into Menards and you take your mask off and they say you can't do that, and you say trust the awesomeness. That means you have a plan. You're going to go in there and you're not going to get kicked out on your ear for not wearing your mask. Just got my laptop back from Village Point. You told me how to fix my missing printer and secure updater password. Thanks. Special thanks to the guys at Village Point for fixing the Microsoft Update mess. Yeah, Randy, I'm sorry that it sounds like you have you've had a technology week here, but man, you had everything. The update wouldn't work, and then the and then you got the Windows update, and then your secure updater broke, and oh man. So yeah, if you have any trouble, Randy, make sure you let us know. You have a 30-day warranty on all the work that we did for you. So if something is squirrely or not working right, definitely give us a call. We can jump right on that Schrock desk and help you out really quick. Charleston Heston said that in Planet of the Apes. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. So the lovely Kimberly, oh my gosh. There's nothing new in this book. He has just taken like old school sci-fi and made it all fresh and new again. Trust the Awesomeness is from Planet of the Apes. That is the lovely Kimberly's most favoriteest movie in the entire world. Because who doesn't think it's not creepy to have giant apes walking around like, running the planet? And in a book where they make fun of, stupid, filthy monkeys all the time, meaning humans, yeah. So a quote from Planet of the Apes is completely appropriate. I love it. Thank you for the cultural infusion, Richard. I did not know that, and it makes me smile. All right, let's go on right now. So we're going to go down to IKEA. We're going to get a bunch of furniture. Uh, then we're going to find some poor souls to assemble it at some point. But the service center is done. There was one oversight in the blueprint in the Des Moines Service Center. Apparently, we're going to put a tech island in the middle of the room, and nobody thought it needed power. So there's no power in the middle of the room. And it wasn't on the blueprint. It was supposed to be, we talked about, I didn't approve, you know. So we ended up splitting it half and half, and we're going to get our power in the middle of the room because you kind of have to have power in the middle of the room, and you can't run an extension cord across the room. That's not safe. So we're going to get power, actual power from the ceiling in the middle of the room and data. And once that's in place, the service center itself is ready to start setting up. So this week I'm planning on taking the first truckload of stuff down to the service center to drop off there. We're going to also inspect it, make sure everything is, everything that you can see in real life looks good, and start to get stuff ready to go. The idea here is that we're going to take the rest of this month to get the service center built and stocked and ready to go. And then we're going to spend the majority of next month training staff when we're shooting for an August open. So a lot of this depends on how hiring and training goes, which is kind of a variable right now because of the COVID stuff. We're not just talking about hiring and training people in Iowa. We're talking about hiring people over Zoom and transporting them to Nebraska for a period of time for training, and then sending them back to Iowa after that to assume a brand new service center. And it occurred to me the other day, it kind of shocked me a little bit. I feel like we've been opening service centers left and right because, we first, a few years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, we moved the Papillion Service Center from 72nd and 370 over to 84th and 370. Then, about a year and a half later, we moved the Lincoln Service Center from 27th and Pine Lake over to 14th and Pine Lake, roughly. But this is the first from scratch, brand new service center that Schrock Innovations has opened since 2011. That's pretty nuts. I haven't done this since 2011. So wow, 9 years, almost a decade since we've opened a new service center, and here we're talking about in the next few years opening 4 or 5 or 6. Yeah, it's just crazy because we're the radio show has been on WHO for 2 years. We're about a year behind schedule. We wanted it to be in there for a year before we opened. The response from people in and around the Des Moines metro area, around central Iowa, has just been phenomenal. When we open this service center, it is going to be a party of parties. I have no doubt that we will have people driving to the Des Moines Service Center from Omaha and Lincoln to take advantage of the specials and the deals and the discounts that we're going to have in place in that Des Moines Service Center. It's going to be off the hook. I'm like, do we need moonbeams, to go back and forth? It's going to be crazy. With that said, then once we rewrite the book on how to do this in the modern era, if you will, we're talking about where do we go next? Because if we want to have a radio show on the air in a city for a year before we open a service center, we pretty much need to put something on the air now. right? So we open Des Moines in August. Do we wait until like January once we have Des Moines like fully launched and we have a staff that's seasoned and they're not rookies anymore and they're completely trained? When I say rookies, guys, we are going to train the staff that goes into there. We're not going to throw them to the wolves in Des Moines. Literally, we've promoted from within. Parker is our new regional manager. He is going to be spending at least 1 day a week in Des Moines. It doesn't really make sense to drive all the way down to Des Moines for 1 day of work. So probably what's going to happen is he's going to go later in the afternoon, take an evening shift, spend the night in Des Moines, and then resume work there in the morning. So it'll be about 2 days a week he's actually in the Des Moines Service Center. I'm going to try to get down there myself once a week just to keep an eye on everything. So between the two of us, 3 days out of 7, you're going to have very seasoned Schrock employees in that location, imparting knowledge onto the technicians that we have there in the location. We're also may even transplant a senior technician into that service center for the first couple months, just to make sure that everybody gets off to the start that they need to have a successful launch, that our brand is protected, that we don't want to put people in a position where they're not qualified to give advice or to solve problems. And that kind of training to a Schrock senior technician doesn't usually happen in a month. Yeah, it's something that takes a long time, which is why we hired so many junior technicians at Schrock right now. We know we're going to be promoting from within out to Des Moines, and we need to make sure we have junior technicians stepping into those roles in our existing service centers so they can be trained up and someday be the senior technicians a year or two from now in other locations that we might open, for example, in Kansas City. So it works out pretty well. Alrighty, let's see. Did you ever go? Oh my gosh, Kevin, I totally forgot. I forgot about the Photoshop app. Okay, so I posted it on our Facebook page as well, so you can scroll down just a couple posts, and you'll see that Photoshop app there too. I did install it on my phone. As the lovely Kimberly will tell you, I am not the photographer of the family. That's her. But I installed it on my phone, and the interface seems pretty neat. You can do a lot of things with it. You can improve a lot of photos. If you have an absolutely awful photo, so I tested it at 10 o'clock at night in my kitchen with the lights on low. And so it was low light with the background behind me was all black, and my hair was kind of, I've been like this, doing my show prep, so my hair was all fuzzy. And so when it tried to bokeh the background, it like bokeh my hair. So I don't know, I looked like Bob Ross. It was weird. Uh, so anyway, you can do some pretty fun things. I enjoyed messing with it. I played with it for 5 or 10 minutes, but it was everything that on Photoshop. If you try to bokeh a background, the lovely Kimberly's done this. She can tell you that it's not a single tap thing to do. It's a multi click thing. To improve lighting, you can't usually change a whole lot there, but Photoshop's AI algorithm is able to go through and try to light a face better than it was lit. I was in a very dark room. It did make the picture passable. I wouldn't have probably used it on a social media feed, but if I had a lit room and a nice background behind me or a solid background behind me and my hair and makeup all done, like, oh my gosh, I'm so selfie, and then take a picture, this thing would be amazing. It would allow you to do so much beyond like AR stickers and stuff. You can throw backgrounds behind you. You can do lighting effects. You can do all kinds of camera effects on it. It's pretty neat. So I would encourage you to check it out. It's called the Photoshop Camera, just Photoshop Camera. So you go in, it's for Android or iPhone. You can go into the stores and you type in Photoshop Camera. Be really careful what you download because there are a lot of other apps that are trying to trademark or trade on the Photoshop name. So it's Photoshop Camera. Sometimes the search will say Photoshop Camera app. Excuse me. It's just Photoshop Camera. And literally, it's a potential replacement for the camera app that's on your phone now. I'm not sure that it's better than the Apple one. It definitely had features that the Android one does not have. When you install the app, it's going to ask for permission to use your camera. Duh. It's also going to ask for permission to access location data. The reason it asks for the location data permission is when you take a picture, it's going to tag the location data with metadata. So that way, if you transfer these pictures onto your computer in the future, you can sort through them easier. Pictures of people, pictures of pets, pictures of places, pictures of people at places, things like that. And you can search for that a lot easier if the location settings are turned on. Yep, Kim uses the VSCO app for her stuff. I don't know. Try the Photoshop one. I don't know. I just remember the app that you have, Kim, is we remember it was like sketchy. It was just when you used it, you had to watch an ad sometimes, or it was sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. It was just some random Chinese guy's app that was used by small Asian women to Photoshop their images on social media. But it works really, really well for what it does. I don't know. I'm not a selfie person, I guess. I don't really. When I do my Facebook Live, guys, what you see is what you get. I did a Zoom thing. Zoom has a feature that says touch up my video. And you can click it and it smooths over the wrinkles a little bit. If you have freckles, it kind of blends them out a little bit. And I had it turned on. I don't know, a moment of vanity. I clicked the thing like when I set up Zoom, and then I did a video on the Facebook feed, a Compute This Minute video, and I noticed I had no eyebrows. So my eyebrows get thin off to the edges out here, and they're thicker right here. And in the video, it looked like I had two little dots of eyebrow here, and it blended out my eyebrows across everything else. And I'm like, gosh, I look weird. So I turned that feature off. So now you get to see all the wrinkles and everything else on the Zoom meetings. It's kind of funny. Alrighty, guys. Last call for questions because I got to get rolling here. I'm famous for running too long on the After Schrock, and I got to make sure that I'm on time today because the lovely Kimberly, we got a book to listen to. Yes. Welcome to the Compute This Book Club. Today's reading will be Columbus Day. We'll all get together next Sunday and discuss. All right? All right, guys. Last call for questions. Trying to think if there's anything else crazy in the service center I saw this week. I dropped a $3,000 Bitcoin miner on the floor and shattered it this week. That was a special, painful experience. I had it sitting on a shelf. I was taking them all out to clean them all, and I had it on the shelf, and it just tipped. And it went right off the edge of the counter. Staff was having a Zoom meeting at the time, and they heard a smack shatter, and I picked it up, and it was just inside. It was rattling like Rice Krispies. I tried to fix it. I used every Thor Schrock trick I could think of to try to get that thing back online. It is dunsies. It's gone. Kerflush. Yeah, that's how my week started. So, hey, at least we're not all locked down, right? All right. Thanks from Round Rock, Texas for great information. No, thank you, Carolyn. And yes, Carolyn, I'm looking at Texas and I'm like, Round Rock, we can do that. We can do that. Let's get Des Moines knocked out. Let's make sure that we can actually do something that's geographically far from Thor. If we can get that locked down, then we're going to hit Kansas City next, I think. And then if we get that done, you know what? Time to move the corporate headquarters, I guess, right? Texas. The tax advantages are immense, which is why so many companies do it. Looking to get a new Samsung phone. We'll wait to check out the app later. Yeah, the Samsung phones are pretty impressive, and they're going to be coming out with new ones that's it. Nobody really knows. Are they going to come out with new ones this year, or are they just going to skip? The lovely Kimberly just got an iPhone 11 Pro because her phone was acting up, and the battery wasn't working right, and do we wait for the next phone? The next Apple phone might be 5G, might not. We don't know if it's going to come out. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. If China locks down again, it probably won't. So we just don't know. So we just said, you know what? Let's just go. Let's get the phone and call it good. She's getting it's a mint green actually. Was a kind of a cool color they had. So we were going to go with the rose gold, and then they were out of stock on that. So they don't say mint green. They said rose gold or green. And in my head, I'm seeing like shamrock green, right? And so I'm like, well, I guess green because that's all they had in stock. But when you market it like green, there's got to be a name for that color, for that I don't know. It's like almost like an aqua. No, that's not aqua. I don't know. It's like a mint green. It's very, very 50s looking, like 50s refrigerator. It looks like that color. You know what I'm talking about now. You can see it now. All right, guys, got to get rolling. Thanks for joining us on the program today. I appreciate it. Also, make sure you check us out on YouTube. You can search for Schrock Innovations on YouTube. Like our YouTube channel as well. We do post videos there, and depending on if you have a Google account, maybe you don't have a Facebook account, but you do have a Google account. That way you can get alerts when we're going live and things like that from YouTube as well. So it works out really well. Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. We'll have more show next week for you. Otherwise, we'll see you in the service centers, and have a great week.